In today's episode of Best Ball in 15, we're jumping into Best Ball Mania 4. Hopefully, you get a good draft. Let's see how it goes. This is The Climb. Alright, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Best Ball in 15. Today, we're doing a Best Ball Mania 4 draft. Going for the big dollar, hoping to claim that $3 million prize at the end of the year. Fingers crossed. Is this the draft? We're going to wait and see. Welcome to history, maybe. Probably not, but, wishful thinking always is a good attitude, and that's the way you got to be with these drafts. Hope you have a lot of fun with them, along with having the best draft you possibly can. Today we're drafting out of the 9 spot to nobody's surprise. We're always drafting out of the 9 spot. Very, very comfortable out here. I like the player selection. Could get Stefon Diggs, A.J. Brown, Austin Ekeler, or in this case, we ended up getting Travis Kelce. Like drafting out of the 9 spot because you're able to kind of get whoever falls to you. It's really not a hard choice in my eyes who you draft here. It's just take whoever falls to you and roll with it. Travis Kelce has been the tight end one year in, year out, looking to be it again. Mahomes' favorite target, on top of having a Week 17 game stack that we very much like with Cincinnati. Should be a high-scoring game with two defenses that are kind of mediocre. They're very average, middle of the pack, and a lot of bad blood in that relationship, so that could very easily be an 80-point game. Let's take the favorite target in that game next to Ja'Marr Chase, probably, in my eyes. So went ahead, took Waddle with our second pick. I was kind of wanting Amon-Ra. I like Amon-Ra just a tad bit more than Waddle, but Waddle produced pretty well last year. I think he had 1,300 yards, about 8 touchdowns or something. So Waddle could take another step forward. Could be 1,510. We do that. We're looking real, real good. Happy with the draft off the start. On top of another awesome game stack playing Baltimore in Week 17. So really was hoping Mahomes would super slide here, but as you see in this draft, 4 quarterbacks off the board and 5 picks. Lamar going quite a bit early in this one. So I was kind of looking at my options. Was thinking about Ridley. Been drafting a little bit more Ridley than I like. So Debo's another guy I've been drafting a lot of. I think with Purdy being the Week 1 starter, most likely, definitely the Week 17 starter, it gives Debo a very good floor in a sense. We know we're going to throw a lot of short routes. Debo's going to do what he did, hopefully, in his wide receiver 2 year. That could have been an excellent wide receiver 1 year as a whole, but lit the world on fire that year. So we're hoping for Debo to kind of stay healthy, get a bounce back year. He's a guy I like a whole lot. Next pick, I was debating on waiting, but I went ahead and got the instant game stack with Terry McLaurin here. Thought about it, and I was like, well, I like Dotson late, but we're kind of in the spot where his ADP doesn't line up a whole bunch. So I was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and take Terry McLaurin here, get an instant big name game stack. Definitely going to be the primary target in the Washington offense, even though we're knowing that there's a good chance that Dotson takes a step forward. But I think McLaurin's still that big play guy. He was a big playoff push for me last year, and he was a guy I liked a whole bunch in redraft, so he got a little extra love in my eyes. So, coming around on this next pick here, Joe Burrow is sliding a whole bunch, and I was just sitting there praying he would make it to us. Saw a quarterback go off the board right before us, thought my heart was going to get broken, but it wasn't. Justin Herbert went off the board, and we got Joe Burrow to fall to us 11 picks past ADP. I was like, that is awesome. Big value on a big name. We already got the Week 17 correlation that we talked about with Kelce. Was hoping to get some of the players that would correlate with him later in the draft, so we'll see if that comes around. Mixon is a good option. Tyler Boyd, it was a weird ADP spot. We were going to have to push him a little bit, but nothing drastically. Hoping take somebody like Kadarius Toney, build on that game stack. Hoping on some slides here, definitely with that, but getting Burrow at this value was just awesome in my eyes. I was very, very thankful for that. And we got an elite quarterback, one of the guys that could even take a bigger step forward. Seemed like a guy that always produces when the playoff time comes around in the fantasy season. Joe Burrow just seems, when it comes to getting close to time for his playoffs, is a guy that jumps off the board. One thing that made me happy here was to see Jahan Dotson come off a couple picks before us. It would have hurt me a little bit if we wouldn't have saw the slide there. So I was looking running back here since I hadn't taken any running backs quite yet. James Conner is a guy that could definitely be a workhorse running back. I keep looking at him in those eyes. And it's hard for me not to have love for a guy that just seems to always produce. He should be a main focus in the offense, along with Hollywood Brown, since they don't have a lot of other weapons. Not a lot of competing room in that running back room back there. So I was like, yeah. I was also looking at the Baltimore wide receivers here. The two main ones I like were still on the board. Thought we could push that pretty safely, especially because we were at ADP for them. So I didn't mind the reach for James Conner there as much. Get a running back that could be a borderline RB1 as a whole and has a high upside, safe floor in my eyes. Should get 20 touches plus a game, 20 opportunities at least a game. So we went ahead and went that route. Pushed it, got Rashad Bateman on the next pick. He's the guy I like most out of the Baltimore. Went ahead and correlated him with Jalen Waddle, big play guys. Hopefully they have a lot of big plays in that week 17 if we make it to championship week here. So obviously we're looking Tyler Boyd here. He came off right at ADP right before us, and then Brian Robinson came off the board right there too before us. So very awkward situation here. Didn't want to go quarterback, obviously. Didn't like the running backs whole lot at the ADP value here. Juju Smith-Schuster is another guy who's been rising on my ADP board, in my eyes, quite a bit, solely for the fact that as long as DeAndre Hopkins doesn't land there, he's going to get a lot of value. And at a wide receiver 6 on a team, I'm like, yeah, I feel safe. I don't have to worry about receiver essentially the rest of the draft. I can take whatever quarterback late I get if I want to get a game stack there, or however that plays out. I felt pretty safe going around that. Damien Harris came off the board for me next. I was looking at that. I'm like, all right, let's go ahead. We're talking all these game stacks. Let's just keep pounding this week 17 game stacks as much as we can. Damien Harris is very much a touchdown upside guy. High-powered offense. We know that's going to score a lot. I'm trying to get as many people that can score a whole bunch of touchdowns. Just make me feel safe about my picks as a whole. This next time around, I was really hoping that Elijah Mitchell would fall to us since we already built that game stack a little bit. Elijah Mitchell's a guy that could take 40% of the snaps, be a big play guy, especially because I'm trying to build this running back room as much as I can. So building on that running back room, I reached a little bit on Jaylen Warren. I believe 7 picks past ADP. He's one of my guys this year, plain and simple. If I know I want a guy that I can feel safe about, he seems like a guy that it's going to be hard to keep off the field. We just saw, I think it was somebody from The Athletic reported that the offensive coordinator is going to be Matt Canada, I believe, is the guy from Pittsburgh. I'm not super good on my offensive and defensive coordinators off the top of my head, but it said it's going to be hard to keep him off the field from the reports right now. I only see his ADP continuing to rise and rise and rise. I got a lot of him at a lower ADP, but I'm comfortable taking him more and more at this ADP. Tank Bigsby was the next guy, another guy that if ETN would ever go down, he'd have a huge work role, but they're talking about lowering ETN's workload, and if that's the case, kind of correlates very much Jaylen Warren, Tank Bigsby. I think Warren has been obviously proven, so I think he's going to take that step without a little bit of stress there. That's why I was okay reaching on him there. I was going to go Kendre Miller or Tank Bigsby, whoever fell to me, totally fine with. They're same player in my eyes, essentially, with a little bit more clear path for Bigsby, essentially. So went that route, pretty safe and sound. Tyler Algier came around back to us. Nothing too crazy, just a little bit past his ADP, just a couple spots. So it was a little bit of a push, but nothing that was too stressful. He was a guy that I liked a whole lot. So last year, obviously he had a big playoff push, helped Irwin win quite a bit of money. Obviously now we got Bijan there. Bijan's going to take that primary role pretty quickly, if not week 1, all the snaps right off the bat. I think you don't want to kill your rookie year 1, so I do think there still is a little bit of value, and obviously if anything would happen to Bijan, we know that Tyler Algier proved it last year and could very easily prove it again this year, where he's the guy that just scores a lot of points. So with this next pick, I was kind of in a spot, didn't want to go receiver, didn't want to push running back too much. So we went with our guy, Taysom Hill. Why not? If there's going to be any guy that can outscore Travis Kelce in a week, I think Taysom Hill is the clear guy that could. So I was like, yep, let's double down on it. Let's take him. I went Jerome Ford here. he slid way past ADP, and I was like, yeah, I like him. Let's go ahead and take him. 20 spots past ADP on a guy like Jerome Ford that could, same reasons I've talked about before, if they lower Chubb's work role, if he catches some of the passes, he's going to be pretty okay to kind of fill that RB2 spot. Obviously, with this build, we're not looking so much in building strong RBs. We're just hoping that our guys fill our weeks and then have those spike weeks here and there where they break off a big run, get some work on the end side, kind of just touch on that, and hope our wide receivers fill our flex spots pretty well. Pain ensued here. I probably should have gone Brock Purdy and not risked it because it would have been right at ADP for Brock Purdy, and I was like, that's okay. I got Mac Jones to back me up here. I can fill in the game slots, no problem. Didn't think anybody was going to go Mac Jones before me. Didn't have any worries in that mind. So I was like, all right, we got a safe backup in our eyes. Nothing too stressful here. But painfully, we can see Mac Jones came off right before us. So, we also got sniped on Tyler Boyd. We got sniped on Brock Purdy. And we got sniped on Mac Jones. So, our only option was to go Desmond Ridder here, in my eyes. I mean, he could be okay. We had Tyler Algier, not the best correlation, but it's something. It was painful to kind of just push quarterback as much as I did. I should have learned that, all right, Purdy came off the board. Mac Jones is my next option. I really wanted Gainwell. He's a guy that I can see that just have a whole bunch of spike weeks and all my bye weeks correlated. We'll review that here in a second. But it was just like, dang, I got to go Ridder here and hope for the best. We went Irwin with the last pick. Shout out to my Irwin, my co-host, and shout out to this Irwin for hoping for the best that he catches a few touchdowns. But we'll go into our review here and we'll move on from that. All right, let's talk lineup review here. We got Joe Burrow stacked with Trenton Irwin and Desmond Ridder stacked with Tyler Algier. However, that is not your best stack on either which end. That's why I kind of gave myself a 50% here as a yes and a no, as it is stacked, but it's not really at the same time. So my heart's hurting in this department because I had a lot of hope for this team. When it comes to Week 17 game stacks, yes, we got Joe Burrow with Travis Kelce, so that's the exciting part there. Hopefully Irwin can take a 80-yard bomb for us to get that correlation in there. And we completely whiffed on the Chicago game stack. As we know, Desmond Ridder was not the game plan whatsoever. I should have reached on Purdy, but it's all right. We'll see how this team does. I'm not exactly super hopeful, but it's there. Roster construction, I went 3, as this is kind of an atypical build. We went 2-7-7-2. As you can see, it's not even on TJ Hernandez's roster construction about playoff advance over rate over expectation, so it doesn't have the best rate whatsoever. We don't even know if it does have a true expectation pass rate. But, you know, I don't hate this build because we did get 5 receivers through round 9, and we did manage to pull off 4 running backs through round 13. So it's very good in that aspect, but it's not a tried and proven advanced rate whatsoever. ADP value, I went pretty high because we got Joe Burrow pretty late. We got Jerome Ford incredibly late. And the people I reached on are people that I like quite a bit. James Conner, Jaylen Warren. So they're higher in my book. And Tank Bigsby, anything that's under 6. Anytime you reach in less than half a round, I don't really consider. You can say I reached on Taysom, but like I said earlier, if anybody's going to outscore Kelce, I think Taysom's the guy to do that. Playoff stacks. Got quite a bit here. Good Week 15 correlation, James Conner, Deebo Samuel. I like that. Rashad Bateman, Tank Bigsby, a loose one there. Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster. Gotta like that. That's a good one. Hopefully receiving option 1 on both teams there. Same thing with the Week 16 for Baltimore, San Francisco. We got Rashad Bateman along with Deebo Samuel. And kind of a loose one. Like I said, we like Jaylen Warren quite a bit. So we got Joe Burrow, Trenton Irwin, and Jaylen Warren there. Week 17, James Conner, Kenneth Gainwell, hoping the running backs go off in that game. Baltimore, Miami, we got Rashad Bateman and Jaylen Warren. Buffalo, New England, Damian Harris, Juju Smith-Schuster. Cincinnati, as we talked about before, Joe Burrow, Trenton Irwin, and Travis Kelce. In Week 17 for San Francisco, Washington, we got Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin. So I like that a lot. That's a good one there too. Strong receiving options in that game. What I change, I definitely reach on Purdy or Mac Jones. If I could change it, I would have done that way before. And once I missed on Purdy, I should have gone Mac Jones and skipped on Gainwell. That was me just trying to fill out a running back room that is a lot of RB2s. I have so much bye week correlation. I didn't actually show my bye weeks, but nobody overlaps in the running back room, and I don't believe anybody overlaps in the wide receiver room, which says a lot. So I do have the upside. That was one reason why I wanted to go 2-7-7 versus your typical 2-6-8 in a situation like this. But overall, not so bad. And we got a really bad week 17 QB correlation. We missed on Ritter, and the receiving option for Joe Burrow isn't the best. So those are the things I would change. Maybe reach on. I could have waited and tried to get Odell instead as a Baltimore receiving option, or I could have gone Isaiah Likely as my late round tight end. If I wanted to get something to correlate with the Baltimore, I even could have gone Gus Edwards. I know he did go off the board very early in this draft. So there was other options I could have grabbed for Baltimore, and maybe I should have reached to get Tyler Boyd. It would have been a full round past ADP, so that would have kind of dropped my values there. But it would have been a much greater game stack in that eye, so can't complain too much. Let us know what you think of this team in the comments. Hopefully it's better than what I want it to be, but there's not a 0% chance this team fails. But, we live with it. As you guys know, we're on the road to 100 subscribers. Make sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter to get the most amount of entries and possibly win in that Best Ball Mania 4 entry like we did today. Thank you guys for watching. My name's EJ. I hope you have a lovely weekend, and we'll talk to you guys next time. See you later.